We're here inside Central Arena in Burlington, and I'm now joined by the head coach of the Brampton Excelsiors, Dan Teat. Dan, thanks for doing this. First question I have for you, we filmed you guys the other night against Six Nations, your first game of the season, a loss. Just your thoughts on that first opening performance.
Well, I mean, I think that, we looked at it as that we let ourselves get beat there. We didn't do some of the things in the third period that we're probably used to and that we're probably expecting of the players. And when that doesn't happen against a team like Six Nations, you end up coming out on the losing end. But, we also took a lot of positives out of that. We built a 6-3 lead. So, when a team is that good and they've dominated for this long, you want to get to a point where you know you can compete and play with them and to the point where you beat them. So, we've got a little bit of growing to do, but for the most part, there were a lot of positives with some work to do aspects.
So that was, of course, at Memorial Arena in Brampton. Carpet looks beautiful, by the way. I'm sure that was an adjustment for the guys playing on carpet at home for the first time.
Well, it was, and especially because, we had plans for it to be down about 2 weeks before the start of the season, so we were going to get 3 or 4 practices in. Circumstances didn't allow that to happen, so we basically had the Tuesday practice and then went straight into the game. So if you're watching the game, you can see guys struggling at times to pick the ball up and stuff, but as we practice more on it and play more on it, I think that's going to get better for the guys.
And of course, that's there because of the Minto Cup. Will be there end of August in Brampton. No host bye this year. You guys are going to have to play your way in. Does that weigh on you a little bit, knowing that obviously you want to be there, everybody wants to be there, but you guys specifically?
Well, you know what? It's a tale of two stories. You can expect to be in because you're the host, but I'd like to look at our group and let them accept the challenge of, hey, we got to get to the Ontario finals to get there, and I'd rather get in that way, and I think any of our players and the other coaches and any of our staff would like to believe the same thing, that if you want to play in the Minto, you got to get to the Minto. So we're going to do our best to get there, and if we can, it's going to be a great thing for Brampton.
So when I was calling that game, there was, for me anyways, I grew up in Brampton. I watched a lot of Brampton lacrosse growing up at the Powerade Center, different arenas. Austin Hazen in the corner passes up to Jeff Teat, and I called it as Hazen to Teat, and I went, oh my goodness, here, like, the history in Brampton is just incredible, and it's almost like not here we go again, but the next generation coming up.
Well, that's the one of the real good aspects of guys that have lived and stayed in Brampton, and for myself and Austin's dad, Mike, we grew up playing together. We both only played for Brampton on our summer team, so that's something that we take some pride in, and to have our kids that are Austin's a couple years younger than Jeff, but he's obviously been well coached by Mike through his whole career. So that was a great thing to see for us, because you want those younger generation guys, especially when they're friends that you grew up with and played with forever. And it's great to see those two getting to play together finally. And we've kind of thought about it for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's nice to see now.
So every dad wants to play catch in the driveway in the backyard. Some dads even get to coach at the minor level. You get to coach your son basically the highest level there is in junior lacrosse. It's got to be rewarding as a coach and a dad, I think.
Well, absolutely. I think, we took this group when they were probably 6 years old, and the core of that group, I would probably say 7 or 8 guys are playing in their 4th year junior now. So that's really where the pride comes in, is we've done a good enough job with that group that they all got to succeed and get to the highest level. As far as Jeff goes, I mean, he's his own player, and he's done what he's done through his own volition and earned everything that he's got. He doesn't get anything handed to him, and I think that when it comes to lacrosse IQ, there's times on the bench I ask him something. He's that smart. So that's the real rewarding part for me, is I've got a player that is probably smarter than all of our coaches, and it's nice to see that.
So the reason we are here in Burlington tonight, you are facing the Chiefs, a team that I think people look at the Junior A standings, they know Six Nations, they know Orangeville. You guys were right up there neck and neck with those two teams last year. And then Burlington, even Mimico, a couple other teams were right behind you guys. This is going to be a tough battle tonight. How do you prepare the team for that, especially after the loss the other night?
Well, what we do is we prepare at practice, and we prepare at practice for the team we're about to play, which is obviously Burlington tonight. we had some preparations ready for these guys because they are that good. I don't think anybody should be hypnotized by the fact that they're going to be in the mix and they're going to be up there at the end of the year because of the style of play they play. They've got great coaching in Dan Macrae now, so I think you can't have any of those games where you walk into not prepared and not thinking of situational stuff that you want to be prepared for as a group, and that the players know what they're going to be expecting on the floor. And when it comes to Burlington, young, fast, athletic, and they work. You can't expect to come in here and not work and get a win. So we know we have our work cut out for us. We're expecting a good rebound game from our team, but the game's played on the floor, and when our guys show up, we expect them to show up with the discipline and the preparedness that, as much as we've given them, and Burlington's going to do the same. I would expect a bit of a dogfight here tonight.
So not just tonight, but we talked about the standings last year, standings this year as well. I know we're very early in the season, but you just said it's going to be a dogfight all the way down. Does that kind of speak to the fact that this league is just, the parity of talent is just grown to that level at this point?
I think it's incredible. I mean, when you scoreboard watch when you're at home or when you're at practice and you see some of the scores, and some of the teams that you didn't expect to be winning this early are doing it.
Six Nations over
Peterborough over Six Nations. The Toronto Beaches have already got 2 wins. I mean, they're playing phenomenal lacrosse, and they're obviously very well coached by Glenn Clark and his staff. So I think you have to expect that it's almost like a situation where there's no games you can walk in and expect to win. You have to earn your wins, and there's no arenas that you go in and think that you're going to win in somebody else's barn. So I think that when it comes to the parity, this is going to be a real tight race for first, obviously, and then anybody's getting the 8 spots for the playoffs, and it could be anybody. It's that one game you can't get back that you thought you should have won. You can't get those back, so you want to have all of the ones that you can at home, and and your road wins. If you play real good road games, you can hope to come out on top in those too.
Well, I can't think of a better commercial for JVI Sports Network's season-long coverage of the OLA Jr A Lacrosse Loop. Dan Teat is the head coach of the Brampton Excelsiors that are facing the Burlington Chiefs tonight from Central Arena in Burlington. We're back inside Central Arena here in Burlington for Junior A action between the Burlington Chiefs and the Brampton Excelsiors, and I'm now joined by the Chiefs head coach, Dan Macrae. Dan, first off, thanks for doing this. This is actually your first season coaching this squad. What were your preparations personally coming into this role?
Yeah, get to know the team, I guess, knowing our strengths, our weaknesses, and getting to know the lay of the land of Ontario Junior A as well. Getting to know our competition and where we can be effective on the floor. So it's still learning as we go, but the boys have been great so far.
This is I think the second year they've had a rookie head coach. So for some of the older guys, a lot of changes in terms of that. Does that speak more to the leadership roles of the guys in the room as well?
Yeah, we're leaning on a lot of the guys in there. Some of them have been around here, 3-4 years. So I've been leaning on them, in practices and in games, asking a lot of them. And we're still very early on in the season, but they've been delivering so far in my book. So it's been great. It's all I can ask out of them.
You guys have been pretty lucky, I think, getting some guys back. There's still a few more trickling in. Andrew Q tonight. We're still waiting on Andrew Lanchbury. How important are these early games to get? Because you guys are still missing guys. Your opponents are going to be missing some here or there. How important are the games very early on in the season?
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, just looking at the standings the last couple of years, you might have 1 or 2 teams that are standing out at first and second, and then it's a dogfight after that. So we need to grab as many points early on as we can. These are going to mean just as much as the ones down the stretch here in June. So we're not taking anybody lightly early on.
When I talked to Dan Teat, he was saying just the fact that with them, it's Six Nations, last year Six Nations, Orangeville, Brampton, and then you guys in Mimico were behind that group, but right there as well. How much does that speak? I asked him the same question, but I'll pose it to you as well. Just how tight the Ontario loop is right now in Junior A.
Yeah, there's been some great ball even early on. I watched these guys play against Six Nations there last week, and And then we obviously had a really tight matchup against Mimico on the weekend there. So it seems like any given night, anybody's beating anybody, with Peterborough beating Six Nations the other night. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, that's a competition level and skill level of kids. The sport's growing, different centers are growing, and it's great to see the healthy competition.
Obviously, I mean, there are going to be some losses. I think you guys are 2-1 at this point. The only loss to Mimico. How do you prepare guys to just be so top level every single time coming out? Because they're obviously that important.
Yeah, the kids got to be in pretty good physical shape is first and foremost. And they gotta help all the little injuries that they get. The season's a long grind. We all know that as a coaching staff here. So they got to take care of their bodies, and they got to come ready to play every night. I mean, when we played against Mimico there, it felt like a playoff game. We're a little bit younger team. We only got a couple fifth-year guys, so some teams think they could push us around a bit. So guys are ready to answer the bell and push back when we need them to.
One thing I did notice, I've covered a couple of your games now, this is a team that likes to run a lot. They're real fast, they're real skilled, like you said, and no fear going down low towards the net. Was that something you guys worked on, or is that just the nature of the guys that you have?
Yeah, I think it plays to the type of individuals we have on our team. We got a lot of youth, athleticism, we got a lot of skill out of our back end, and we can create a lot of really good opportunities pushing out of the back door. It's a type of lacrosse that I've always been a big fan of, watching and playing, and you can see some good success with it with our group in flashes so far. So from what we've seen so far, that type of game's been working. So we're going to see if we can execute that tonight.
Dan, I know you. I think your assistant coach Sean Gillies played with the Oakville Rock as well, just down the street, Toronto Rock Athletic Center. That is your major series affiliate. A couple of players, I think the Elder brothers went up last year. Andrew Q went up last year. What's that like for the guys in the room, knowing that there's somewhere they can play with a good performance here, not just this year, but down the road somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's great. They got a great facility there with great high-level coaches and some good guys in the room. I know I can speak firsthand of that. So. It's great. If they work hard, they're going to get rewarded, man. It's going to be both on the floor with us and down the road with other teams and just anything in life. So that's what we're preaching here.
So we are doing this game pre-game. The teams are out on the floor right now doing their first warm-up. Your thoughts on tonight's game against Brampton? Like you said, you were in the building the other night watching them play against Six Nations, a game you can see on the JVI Sports Network YouTube channel. But they're a team as well that looked fast. They moved the ball really well. Just your preparation and the team preparation going into tonight. Great team, great offense. They're very well coached, obviously. They're going to be smart, very methodical in what they do. So it's going to be a very good test for us. I feel like they're setting the bar as far as one of the top teams in the league. So we're going to hopefully have a good matchup for them tonight. So we did touch on Andrew Q a little bit. His first game back in the lineup tonight. How big is it to have a guy like that back in, even though you guys are already rolling?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It gives us a lot more balance, giving some more scoring touch on the left side, and obviously a great veteran presence. I think we only have one other fifth-year guy, so having a guy that can control the ball when defenses are trying to pressure him, or emotions are running high, it can kind of bring a common presence to the bench. So those are some of the things that we're going to be looking to him to do tonight.
I wasn't going to ask this question, but I'll finish on it because I know you got stuff to do. You did say he's only your second, fifth-year guy. It is a much younger team. I noticed that last year as well, that they really grew as the season went on. For me, anyways, I obviously am not in the room. I haven't coached at this level, but standing back on the sidelines, it looks like that may set these guys up pretty good for runs down the stretch and for a long run here in Burlington.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it sets us up for a good place for a new coaching staff coming in, because it's an impressionable group. You can ask a lot of them, and they're going to give you everything. They feel like they have lots to prove, and I think we do as a coaching staff as well. So we're all up for the challenge as a team.
All right, Dan Macrae, the head coach of the Burlington Chiefs, taking on the Brampton Excelsiors in action here on the JVI Sports Network tonight, continuing partnership with the OLA Jr A Association.